Zoran Mamdani is dominating the press right now. The communist who has won the Democratic primary for mayor in New York City, America's greatest city. And many on the right are outraged because this guy's a overt communist. He goes on TV and outright says capitalism is bad and we need a better means of distributing wealth. And, you know, I actually don't disagree that our wealth distribution is a big problem. Let me just start by saying, why is it that if I work 16 hours a day, I have to pay more in taxes? Now, that doesn't make sense, does it? They say, but you're making more money. Yeah, but listen, let's say you work an 8-hour shift and you make $200 and you pay taxes. And you say, I'm going to work an additional 8-hour shift to be productive. Now you're working even more per day, right? And what happens? You put yourself in a higher tax bracket and you got to pay more in taxes. You get less the more work you do. So I'm actually going the other direction, but hey, we can agree on that. Now, Rep. Andy Ogle says this guy should have his citizenship investigated because he may have lied on his citizenship forms as he held sympathies for Hamas. Why he rapped 8 years ago that there was this group, that they were his boys and they should be freed. And this group apparently were funding Hamas. Okay, I don't know. Let me just put it this way. I don't care about these arguments of we can navigate the legal system. It is the stupidest thing in the world to me. All of it is the stupidest thing in the world. I feel like the actions of Democrats have shown they literally don't care about what is written on paper and what your laws are and why you have them. Laws, you know, let me put it this way. The UK has an unwritten constitution. And what is a constitution? It is what constitutes the body politic, the people. Well, in the United States, because we had a bunch of different colonies, the founding fathers actually had a debate over this. And there was a group being all like, hey, no, you better write down. We want it written down. We want a contract, a written constitution saying, here's what you can and can't do. Here's how government works. Here's how it's going to play out. And I respect it. I do. But this idea that the Constitution has ever been upheld is laughably absurd. It just is. Now, I like the Constitution, but we're really talking about our current interpretation of what constitutes the body politic. That is, free speech is recent. The Second Amendment's only been around since 2010. Yeah, I know. People are like, what are you talking about, Tim? The Second Amendment's 1789. No. Actually, various jurisdictions were allowed to bar you from having weapons. The federal Constitution only restricted what the federal government could do. That meant that if you lived in Virginia, Virginia would say, we will ban your guns. The federal government can't ban your guns. Virginia can. And so what did we get? Up until 2008 with the Heller ruling, you actually had no right to keep and bear arms. And so the Supreme Court were like, the states can't be doing this because we've now interpreted the Constitution to apply above the states. There's pros and there's cons to that, I guess. The states are supposed to be sovereign. But here we are. Here's the point. What we're dealing with right now in the United States is this guy is openly stating that with his cohorts, he will engage in seditious conspiracy against the American people in these United States, and there is nothing you can do to stop him because they voted for it. So the question then is, can you vote to have someone break the law? Well, that's not really how our government is supposed to work. And if we agree on the structure at the very least, Congress would have to pass this legislation. But wait, let me actually break it down for you. We'll start with Zoran's stated policies, which I've gone over many times, but here we are. He says Trump is tearing at the fabric of New York City in his second term. He has deployed ICE agents to pluck New Yorkers from their family. He has sent already high prices skyrocketing with tariffs, and he has threatened vital social services that working New Yorkers rely on every day. Zoran Mamdani will fight Trump's attempts to gouge the working class. I don't even know what that means. Like, what is Trump doing to specifically take money from people? And deliver a city where everyone can afford a dignified life. He'll ensure our immigrant New Yorkers are protected by strengthening our sanctuary city apparatus, getting ICE out of all city facilities, and ending any cooperation, increasing legal support, and protecting all personal data. He'll make NYC an LGBTQIA sanctuary. Let's ignore that last part and jump to his press release, where he explains what it is. His memo on the policy. What is he going to do that I would say is sedition? Now, it's a fine line, and he's barely he's just slightly over it, in my opinion. But crossing the line's crossing the line. Here's what he says. Eric Adams' collaboration with Trump now has ICE poised to enter Rikers Island. Stationing ICE agents on Rikers Island is not about making New York safer, but about tearing families apart and throwing our communities into disarray. The Mamdani administration will end this collaboration immediately and ensure all city-owned or city-leased facilities remain protected from Trump's deportation efforts. Hold on. So the question is, what does it mean that city-owned or leased facilities will be protected from Trump's deportation efforts? What does that mean? Now, he's dancing on the line of what I would describe as sedition. I have no problem saying it. I'll say it right now. If in any way Zohran and his administration obstruct ICE enforcement, I mean actually obstruct. I don't mean like not cooperate. I mean literally try to stop it from happening. He should be charged by the DOJ with sedition against the authority of the United States. And I can actually show you. We can charge a lot of people with sedition right now, but nobody ever does because this country is composed of weak men. And that's it. That's it. I don't know. Whatever, man. This country has been weak for a very, very long time. And it just has. But let me read. It says the admin will ensure that no city resources are used for immigration enforcement. They don't have to. That also helps protect undocumented New Yorkers from being the target of scammers or harassment because they won't be afraid to call the police. Overall, sanctuary laws make us safer, including by allowing undocumented people to talk to the police. That reduces crime, blah, blah, bolster legal support. Okay, legal support. Okay, fine. That's always allowed. But let me put it this way. Let's reframe where we're currently at. In New York, let's get a hard number here. How many illegal immigrants in NYC? Let's just see what the sources can give us with our old AI buddy over here. And it takes 27 years because ChatGPT is garbage. Approximately 500,000 to 600,000 in New York City. Wow. That implies that New York is getting one extra congressional seat just based off of that population alone and one extra electoral college vote. Let's try how about all of New York State? How many illegal immigrants in New York State entirely? Let's try this. Come on, buddy. 800,000, 900,000. So let's just say altogether, they're mostly in New York City. It's about an extra electoral college vote and congressional seat. That is subverting the U.S. Constitution, our electoral process. And I'm offended. Democrats cheat. This is what they do. When they apportion congressional seats, they don't check citizenship. They just say how many people are there. And if you got 1 million illegal immigrants in New York State, that means they get an extra seat in Congress. That doesn't represent Americans. So what you have now is people have violated our laws, illegally entering the country, living in New York City in violation of federal law, subverting our Constitution, and Zoran Mamdani's his pledge to protect these people. So throw away anything you want to make arguments about legal, law, like whatever, and just focus like this. We have laws intended to protect the citizenry of this country from government overreach. It is being exploited by people who have invaded our country. They have entered this country illegally, violating our laws, smuggling, oftentimes trafficked or smuggled across the border. Some of them are criminals. Some of them are just economic migrants. Many of them are economic migrants. And Zoran says he is going to make sure they are represented. And more importantly, he will do whatever he can to subvert federal authority and the will of the American people. So you see, we voted for Donald Trump largely based on immigration. It was the second biggest issue in the election. People were fed up with it. And so we, the American people, say, Mr. President, please enforce the law as codified. And Zoran says, we will do everything we can to obstruct. Now, if you want to make an argument that him simply doing nothing that's not illegal, you can't go after him, I agree. If Zoran literally just says, we will have nothing to do with the enforcement of federal law, that's going to be on Trump. I'd say, okay. But when he says he's going to make sure illegal immigrants, he calls them undocumented, are protected in city-owned leased property and things like this, this is obstruction territory. So this is conspiracy states. If two or more persons in any state or territory or in any place subject to the jurisdiction of the United States conspire to overthrow put down, or destroy by force the government of the United States, or to levy war against them, or to oppose by force the authority thereof, or by force to prevent, hinder, or delay the execution of any law of the United States, or by force to seize, take, or possess any property of the United States, contrary to the authority thereof, they shall each be fined under this title or imprisoned not more than 20 years or both. The problem is, Americans are a weak people. It's true. I mean, listen, I think I find it absolutely hilarious that people are like, "Oh, you mean Americans are strong?" And like, hold on here a minute. To a certain degree, yes, I'll agree that historically, Americans have been very strong. But take a look where we've been in the last 30 years, the last several generations. They keep saying, slow down there. They don't enforce the law. They're too terrified to bring the laws that are actually codified. They don't want to use them. They're terrified. Terrified. And you've got people just sitting back being like, look, man, I don't want to get involved in this. Yeah, bro, have fun in China. In China, like, look, nobody likes authoritarian regimes. But I'm saying, bro, when a dude says that they are going to protect 600,000 non-citizens from you, the American public, I'm like, yo, come on there a minute, man. You've got roughly 800, 900,000 illegal immigrants in New York State, 500 to 600 in New York City, okay? These are criminals who have broken the law, 100% of them. They are here illegally. Now, I'm not saying they should go to prison for the rest of their lives. I'm not saying they should be mercilessly beaten. No, I'm saying they broke the law, and we're going to send in the law enforcement to enforce our laws. If our laws are not enforced, we don't have a country. We just have a big spattering of land where we hope people don't fight. So the American people nominated and elected Donald Trump and said, we want you to enforce the laws that exist. And Zoran, and not just him, but California as well, Newsom, all of these people conspire with the members of their party and their administration to obstruct or delay, often by force. And you know what's funny is the use of privateers. There's a reason why California won't arrest, or Seattle won't arrest Antifa. It's because they, as a state, have a problem with ordering the use of force against federal law enforcement. But they can unleash the hordes. And that's where we're at right now. It's always been a factor in war, privateers and corsairs. So Democrats say, we can't send the police to fight ICE. We can rally Antifa and far leftists and obstruct. And then the issue becomes, is Trump going to go after the single individual? I love it. Back in the colonial period, which is hundreds of years, France would go to the crown of England and say, "You're pirates." They'd say, "You pirates, they are taking our ships, come on." And the British would be like, never. We would never condone piracy. Oh, heavens me. And then literally the crown of England would be like, "Good job, pirates. You're getting them good." Because England and France were at war quite a bit. But this is all nations. So you'd have British supply lines, and then all of a sudden pirates would show up and start firing upon them. And they'd be like, "Oh," France would be like, "Don't look at me. It was just the pirates. We have nothing to do with it." And we all knew who was actually sending them down, but this was the game being played. And this is where we're at right now. So how about this? How about Trump start charging his Antifa guys who are fighting ICE with sedition? How about that? What do? Rhett McIver gets hit. She hits a cop. Probably more than once. I think she shoves and punches a guy, and she gets a simple assault on an officer charge. Better than nothing. But she's using force to delay the execution of laws in the United States. We got a bunch of weak men. Democrats ain't weak. This is why I love Democrats. I really, really do. Democrats will arrest your lawyer. They'll be like, "We're going to use the weight of the political machine against you to steal power." And you'll be like, okay, well, hold on. Okay, I'm going to try and defend myself with a lawyer. And they'll go, "Your lawyer's under arrest now." And the lawyer's like, "I quit. I'm so sorry. I should never have worked with this man." And Republicans are like, "Oh, well, I guess." And libertarians are like, "That was always fine." So here's where we are. Are the American people going to use the laws on the books and say, "Hey, these people aren't American citizens. They should not be protected," right? They should be... Look, I don't think that illegal entering the country is like the worst crime ever committed, okay? But it is a crime. Imagine if Zoran Mamdani said, shoplifters in New York City will be protected and we will make sure the law is not enforced against them by any means possible. You'd be like, what? Shoplifters? Yep. It's a petty offense. Shoplifting, a minor misdemeanor. Shoplifting is nowhere near as bad as illegally entering the country, but it would be absurd, right? You'd be like, no, that's nuts. What are you talking about? You've got to enforce the law against criminals. Nope. Not when those criminals provide political power to corrupt individuals in government. So maybe the DOJ will actually start enforcing the laws. I really doubt it. Lord help these people if I ever got anywhere near the DOJ, because I don't know, man. I'm nuts, I guess. I actually think we need to enforce the law as the law is meant to be enforced. And I think the important thing is, let me put it this way. I don't care for the mechanized state. I don't care for but the words mean this. No. We understand, okay? I'm not going to sit back while cops give some dude a ticket and then he can't go to work, or people in New York, they get arrested. There's no evidence. Like, let's say they get arrested for, there's a fight that breaks out. Some guy's in the wrong place at the wrong time. He gets arrested. He goes to jail. He doesn't get proper bail hearings. Then he misses work, so he loses his job. He gets out. Now he doesn't have money. Now he's going to lose his apartment. That stuff should never happen. At the same time, people who are literally saying these criminals who are here will be protected, it's like, okay, hold on there a minute. This is anarcho-tyranny. There are minor offenses that American citizens commit that can destroy their lives. And we say, you shouldn't have broken the law. You got into a fight with some guy at a bar and the bar got vandalized and you got charged with a misdemeanor. Sure. But what they're doing is a million times worse. They arrested Trump's lawyers. And I'll leave it there, man. Stay tuned. We got more coming up today. Smash the like button, share the show. Thanks for hanging out. We'll see you all in the next segment.